So the sky must be falling down because here we are at CBR, and they actually now don't let the title, kind of lure you in. I've read most of it, and the guy makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of going on the fact that a lot of people are going to whine and complain that Zelda's a girl boss in the movie. She's always been a girl boss. Nowadays a girl boss is someone who puts the men in their place and strong and independent. But that's a whacked out version of a girl boss. But Zelda has always been a girl boss. She's a fucking princess. She commands an entire fucking kingdom. That alone makes her badass. And even then, we had. Well, I think it probably goes through it, so we'll read it. And if it doesn't, I'll. The many Zelda's greatest hits. Now, I love Zelda. Like, I truly do. Like, so these people who are complaining have clearly never picked up a fucking Zelda game. Like when I was 17, I love Zelda. I may not have room on or money rather for fucking Zelda memorabilia, hanging fucking Hylian shield on the wall or Majora's Mask or whatever, but I love the game. I have such a passion for the game. I love the lore of the game. Um So for me, as a true fan of the game, I know Zelda's always been what would be considered a girl boss. Again, she commands an entire fucking kingdom. How much more badass do you need to be? And then not only that, she puts herself in danger numerous times to help Link out. The last one being Tears of the Kingdom, when she basically made the ultimate sacrifice, not dying, but changing into a dragon who she gave up her mind, her everything, who she was, to become this dragon who just wandered around for tens of thousands of years, all just in the hope of getting Link, the Master, bringing from where she was into the future, getting the Master Sword to Link, so that way he could defeat Ganondorf. So she gave up who she was to become a dragon just to get him the Master Sword, because she needed divine energy to repair it, and 100 years or whatever just wasn't enough. She needed to live for a very, very long time. I mean, how much? What better way than become an eternal dragon? So, but she's always been what they would, or what I would consider a true girl boss, not the putting their men in the place and no. But it's the CBR. The Zelda movie will make Zelda a girl boss, for better or worse. This is Brett Cardaro. The Legend of Zelda's movie, is well under production, is well underway, and has been met with a predictable amount of controversy. Film adaptations of video games are always the subject of debate, and that goes doubly for a series as well loved as iconic as Zelda. It was always guaranteed that the fans would find some issue when Nintendo officially revealed its first look at Bo Bragason as Princess Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Link on the set of the Zelda movie. And of course, the main politicized talking points is points that no one ever wants talking points that no one ever wants anywhere near their Zelda movie adaptations were bound to crop up whether anyone likes it or not. One of the most prominent and misguided criticisms of the Zelda movie images that has arisen is that Princess Zelda will be a girl boss character because she's shown in an empowering pose and is holding a weapon. Again, this guy, I'm not going after this guy, obviously, because he's pointing the shit out. But again, tell me you've never played Zelda without telling me you've never played Zelda. Fuck. In a way, they're kind of right about the princess being a boss, but for the wrong reasons. Princess Zelda holding a weapon doesn't make her a girl boss. It makes her Zelda. Oh yeah. Wind Waker, one of the best Zelda games. It's so bright and colorful. It's so fucking dark. It's so fucking dark story-wise. The notion that Princess Zelda holding a weapon is somehow problematic or goes against the Zelda series canon is not only misguided, but so utterly incorrect that it has the result of feigned ignorance. anyone has played almost any Zelda game to its completion will have witnessed Princess Zelda wielding a weapon at some point in the game. Not all of them, but there are a with all the again, I'll go through them. Or at least not a weapon, not a weapon per se, um, but in fact, the princess' chosen weapon in the movie, a bow and arrow, is the most classic weapon she can wield in the series. She wielded in the series time and time again. Yeah, it is. From, as you see with Wind Waker to Twilight Princess, she uses the bow to, she's like, hey, Link, distract him for me. So while you're taking the blows, she's lining up that shot with the light arrow to get Ganondorf. Um, Actually, she does. Doesn't she have it in Hyrule Warriors as well? I mean, it's not really canon, but I think that's one of her weapons. But extremely common for Princess Zelda to join Link in the final battle of a Zelda game. I mean, traditionally, not really, but that's kind of more of a current thing. That kind of started with, let's see, I think that started with what, Ocarina of Time? I mean, she wasn't there for the final battle. Well, she was there for the final battle because Ocarina of Time, you defeat Ganondorf. She's kind of stuck in the crystal. You defeat Ganondorf. She comes down after, he basically tries to bring the place down around you. And with her help, you're able to escape the castle before it collapses. You're taking the route, and she's the one using her magic to lift up all the, gates and, like the bars and stuff to get through the passages. And then, yeah, she's there in the final battle with you and Ganon, but there is a thing of fire around him, and she's kind of on the outside. But she is present. She's standing there, and she is witnessing the battle. She's in the final fight. No, Majora's Mask, she's not in the game except for having the flashback. Wind Waker, she's the final battle. She's there trying to hit Ganondorf with the light arrows. Same thing with Twilight Princess. Skyward Sword, she's not in the final battle. The final battle happens in like an other realm with you and Demise. Let's see. Breath of the Wild, she's there because she's using her power against Calamity Ganon. She unleashes the power of the Triforce against Calamity Ganon. Tears of the Kingdom, you're literally riding on her fucking back during the final battle. It's you riding Dragon Zelda versus Dragon Ganondorf. So she's quite literally there. But then you have like the handheld games, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, not really. Link to the Past. No, it's you versus Ganon. Even like the first game, the first game. I don't. She's not. The second game, she's sleeping the entire time. You meet her at the end. She's not even in Link's Awakening. God, there's so many fucking games you have to remember. But yeah, this her with her being in the final battle, that's more of a current thing. That started with Ocarina of Time, with her kind of being some way, shape, or form in that final battle. Join Link in the final battle, wielding a bow armed with light arrows. Not the Minish Cap. Spirit Tracks, I think, is another one where she follows you the entire game. She has her spirit removed from her body, and then she possesses an Armos, or not an Armos, like an Iron Knuckle kind of a soldier. She's kind of with you throughout the game. So, let's see. Phantom Hourglass. I don't think she is, but this happens in two of the most Popular games in the series: Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, games that any real fans would consider must-play entries. Yeah, they are. If you haven't played them, what the fuck is wrong with you? For any fan who wants the Zelda movie to respect the franchise's lore and the essence of its characters, seeing the princess exhibiting traits she's known to have in either Wind Waker or Twilight Princess is extremely good sign. Not to mention, again, she not only helps you in the final battle, but one, she's a princess, she's ruling the kingdom on her own. Second, when Midna gets exposed to the light by Zant, Zelda gives up her own life essentially to heal Midna. Whether it's not really her light, it's more like her light force. She basically she infuses Zelda Midna with the light, or her own essence, and see her disappear. And but we see her in the end with she's just her body, and then it's controlled by Ganondorf with puppet Zelda. That fucking started that battle. It shows Link, and it kind of the camera's like right in front of him, then it pans over, and she's like right there, even though she was like all the way up there before. But giving her own life essentially to save Midna, that was all just in Twilight Princess. So I mean, I think Twilight Princess and Tears of the Kingdom Princess Zelda are probably the best examples of how badass Zelda actually is. Obviously, she's had more examples, but I think when people think of a girl boss, she's not putting men in their place or whatever, like every man that no, she does things that are badass. Something that you wouldn't expect from a princess. I've said before, you have the two princesses of Nintendo. You have Princess Peach and you have Zelda. Princess Peach is the more typical Mario. I need help. Help me. I've been kidnapped. Zelda is the one who's more hands-on. It's an Ocarina of Time, she disguises herself as Sheik for 7 years. She's mastered the art of Sheikah magic just to disguise herself as someone else to evade capture by Ganondorf. And throughout that time, she's helping Link the entire time, giving him hints and teaching him songs. And I mean, different Zeldas, but all of them are being equally badass in their own way. But Twilight Princess and Tears of the Kingdom, also, I mean, Breath of the Wild, they're Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, same Zelda, just a couple years apart. But it encapsulates what Zelda is and why she's so awesome. Princess Zelda is not as weak or helpless as tourists want to believe. Yeah, she's not. Anyone who thinks that Zelda is weak, truly, again, you've never fucking played the game. Again, she is the opposite of Peach. When people think of weak princesses, they're thinking of Peach. Now, Peach can be strong, but for the most part, she is more of the damsel in distress. She has a game where you play as her, but all her powers have to do with emotions. Zelda uses weapons. She uses magic. She's badass. So, again, these people who say that she's weak have never played a Zelda game at all before. They've never ever played a Zelda game. Of course, the idea of being a girl boss, as online discourse would use the term, is usually more than just a female character being powerful. Instead, it's a largely anti-feminist term used to highlight how popular movies insert women into starring roles that some feel that they don't deserve. Usually, the sarcastic use of the term girl boss implies that a female character's power isn't realistic. Kind of like Rey. People bring up Rey, how she's a, Mary Sue, a girl boss, how you have these amazing montages of Anakin and Luke training to master the Force, and this bitch fucking just comes along and just knows how to use it. Like, I've never used the Force before. Oh, hey, look what I can do. No reason, no explanation. She's suddenly just good at everything. She's constantly putting men in their places and this and that, and it's not realistic. But Zelda, she has her flaws. She has her flaws. I mean, anyone who's played Zelda, especially like Breath of the Wild, like look at her dilemma in that game. She's going around to all these places, sacred places, trying to unlock the power that she has in her, the sacred power, because she can't just use it. She has struggles, she has problems, she has her father that she has to deal with, who's, doesn't agree with her wanting to study and be scientific, and, she has her own problems. And that's just the Tears of the King, or, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom Zelda. But yeah, nowadays it's like whenever you see these kinds of characters that are just perfect, that they just, hey, look, no training at all, look what I can do. You get the Cartman freaking meme, the put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. That's basically what it is. You're putting a woman in there not for any real reason apart from just putting a woman there. And it shows because the writing is always bad. Well, it's realistic, and that women have been inserted into a role that should have only been reserved for a male character for no other reason than to appeal to feminist sympathizers. The reason some critics online have seen Princess Zelda as potentially being a girl boss in the Zelda movie is because of the assertive pose she makes in the images released by Nintendo. Again, clearly you people have never fucking played the Zelda game. Again, I'm not talking about the guy writing it. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the people whining about it online. Oh my god, she's gonna be a girl boss. And I'm sure a lot of them are coming from like my side, or what people would consider my side, because we're the ones who are like tired of the DEI bullshit. But so if you're on that, clearly you've never fucking played a Zelda game, so you have no fucking room to speak. But as well as the fact that she's holding a weapon instead of being relegated to a supportive subordinate role, as has been traditionally applied to princess characters. Well, excuse me, princess. I know. I know. I know what you're all thinking. I know. I know. I know. I know. The kind of damsel in distress has never been what Princess Zelda, the Princess Zelda character has been about. That's always been Peach. Again, you've never heard Link or Zelda be like Link, Link. No, she's you know the princess is a born leader who embodies wisdom. Yeah, not to mention one of her incarnations was a direct reincarnation of the goddess Hylia. I mean, how much more badass? And even then, she was a reincarnation of a fucking goddess. And she still wasn't going around, oh, I'm just going to put men in their place because I'm so much better than. No, she still had her flaws. This woman was literally a reincarnation of a fucking goddess, and she still had problems. And Skyward Sword, she seals herself away for 100 years. So even when this chick is a fucking literal goddess, she still has problems. She's not a Mary Sue. She doesn't have, like, oh, hey, look, I'm automatically good at fucking everything I do. No. I mean, with Ocarina of Time, I wish we could have, I think they actually do it in the manga, where they show her training with Sheik, or not Sheik, Impa, because Impa's the one who taught her the Sheikah magic to kind of change herself into looking like someone else. I think the manga shows that, but I would, if we do get an Ocarina of Time remake at some point, I want to see that. A young Princess Zelda learning the art of Sheikah magic in order to disguise herself. Because I always thought that was just so awesome that she managed to disguise her as someone who looks like a man, all in attempt to not only hide herself from Ganondorf, but to help Link. She's hiding in plain sight, and yet Ganondorf doesn't know it. I mean, how fucking badass is that? Um, she's the strongest of the sages, the Sage of Light, and a reincarnation of the goddess Hylia, or at least descended from her bloodline. Yeah. Now, Skyward Sword Princess Zelda, she was actually a reincarnation of goddess Hylia. Everyone else is kind of like just a descendant because, you know, that Princess Zelda had to have kids, you know? So they're descended of goddess Hylia, and I think it says Sonia is actually descended from goddess Hylia. Then we know that her and Rauru go on to have kids, and we know that that Zelda right there is descended from Rauru and Sonia. I mean, they outright say it in the fucking game. And yet, being descended or goddess themselves, they still have problems, like every person. Also, if you want to see what goddess Hylia actually looks like, she's in the manga. Really pretty. I mean, she looks exactly the way you think she would. I was surprised when I saw it. I was like, huh. So that's what goddess Hylia looks like. Her grace. Or at least descendant of her bloodline, depending on how fans interpret the lore. In short, Princess Zelda has always been a girl boss in the truest sense in Zelda. Yeah, she is what you would call a girl boss. I mean, through and through, she's badass. You know, she stands up for what's right. She doesn't give in. She has no problem getting her hands dirty. She helps Link out numerous fucking times. She's running an entire goddamn kingdom. You know, not only that, but the politics that go along with that, negotiating with other kingdoms or other countries, defending her. How much more badass do you need? Like, oh no, she's not putting men in their place. No, she doesn't have to. And I've said before, like, when people think of like badass and girl bosses, I bring up Galadriel from Lord of the Rings. That woman doesn't have to do anything. She merely comes out and people get to their knees. Her name alone strikes fear into people, both men and women. And she doesn't have to lift a finger. That is true badassery. She's a peaceful person. She doesn't like to fight, doesn't pick up weapons. She's a master of magic. But her name alone, her presence alone is enough to command respect and fear. That is badass. Always been a girl boss in the truest sense in Zelda, so her assertive position in front of Link is by no means, and it could be Link just helping her train. We know that in Twilight, Breath of the Wild, you know, he trains with her, or rather he's her bodyguard and she trains, and it could be a training session. Did they ever think of that? No, because they've never fucking played the game before. That's exactly how any truly respectful adaptation of the game source material should go. Zelda will be a girl boss in Legend of Zelda movie, just as she has always been. Yeah, she's always been badass. While some would love to politicize Princess Zelda's strength and use it as a tool to make some kind of point against Hollywood as a whole, the reality is that Princess Zelda has always been a girl boss. Yeah. If anything, it would be more out of character for the princess to be made into a complete weakling. Yeah, no matter what incarnation it is of Zelda, from the very first Zelda, who broke up a piece of the Triforce and scattered it just so Ganondorf couldn't get a hold of it, the very newest and current incarnation, she has always been very assertive. She's always been the complete opposite of Princess Peach. Again, you have two princesses in Nintendo. Zelda's the badass, the more assertive one, and Princess Peach is the typical damsel in distress, Mario kind of person. That's just unfortunately how it is. But, you know, they complement each other nicely. For the regular Zelda tourist with a passing familiarity within the series, it makes sense that they might consider her a damsel in distress because most games center around Link's need to rescue her from Ganon. However, it's very rare that someone weaker than Ganondorf himself can capture the princess, unless you're like you know, Chancellor Cole or Vadi, who turns her into stone. Vadi's a great villain. I'm surprised they haven't brought him back. Majora, we know won't be back because apparently that whole land of Termina was just a, place created through the power of Majora's Mask using, uh, Skull Kid's memories and imagination. So we'll never get to see Termina again, but, Majora being a boss, no. But I would love to see Vadi, like a 3D Vadi. Vadi is like one of the coolest fucking villains. And he was so well written, and his final, his final fight in Minish Cap, it's so fun and it's creative, and he really is just a cool villain. And I would love to see him get translated to 3D. But hey, that's just me. Our favorite wind mage. However, it's kind himself, and it's almost always only with the help of the princess's power that Link can defeat Ganondorf in the end. Despite what some fans of the series might be arguing, the power dynamic between Link and the princess hasn't changed in the movie. Link is Princess Zelda's chosen knight. That's how it's kind of always been. It's not outright stated, but whenever you see Link, he's pretty much under the command directly of Zelda. Even back with, "Excuse me, princess." Like Link is living in the castle. So, he is basically her chosen hero, her chosen knight. And that's just always been the relationship with them. Not full relationship. Obviously, some romantic, some not. But he's always been her chosen hero. He's always been the one. And it's not just because she wants to. It's because that's how it's destined. It's ever since Demise. His hate and his evil is always destined to be reincarnated, and Link and Zelda are always destined to fight against him. Link is always going to be destined to be the hero, to be Zelda's chosen champion. That has always made him start out as something more akin to a background character to her story in the Zelda franchise. Link may be the main player character, but he isn't the character the story revolves around most. That person is almost always Princess Zelda. Princess tends to drive the narrative, while Link is her sword. Yeah. The encoded imagery is very clear in the images released by Nintendo so far. Calling Princess Zelda a girl boss is as clueless as thinking Link's name is Zelda, or that Link and Zelda are elves due to the pointy ears. The use of the term girl boss implies that the movie is somehow changing Princess Zelda's character in the interest of applying a certain demographic to a certain demographic of moviegoers, or to further some agenda. Anyone afraid of Princess Zelda being a boss shouldn't watch the movie or play any Zelda game, because they're in for a rude awakening. Beautifully said, because again, she's always been badass. She may not be in control of the game, like you may not be playing as her. Now you are in some games, Adventure of Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon. You're in those games, you play as her. And even though the game sucks, she is, she's carrying a sword. She's fighting Ganon at the end. She's, but even at the very first game, again, she breaks up the Triforce of Courage to just prevent Ganondorf or Ganon rather, from getting hold of it. And then we have in Breath of the Wild Twilight Princess, we have Princess Zelda, who unlocks her ability to use, the light, and then she sacrifices her mind and body to become an eternal dragon for tens of thousands of years just to get the Master Sword to Link in the future. So from the very beginning to the very end, she's been a badass. And anyone whining about it, probably most likely from my side, you're fucking stupid and you've clearly never fucking played a Zelda game before. So if you don't want to see a badass or girl boss Princess Zelda, then don't go see the movie. Okay? Then don't. The pose of her with the bow and arrow, again, Link is her chosen champion. He's the one who guards her. Most likely it's a scene where she's practicing with the bow. Simple as that. Just because she's a princess doesn't mean she's stuck and confined into the freaking castle all day. I know, complicated stuff. Anyway, let me know what your favorite Zelda girl boss moment was. For me, there obviously there's so many. But like I've said before, Twilight Princess, when she gives up her light, her essence, her Midna, or even, you know, Tears of the Kingdom, just sacrificing who you are completely for tens of thousands of years, just in the hope of maybe, possibly being able to give Link the Master Sword in the future. You don't even know if you'll succeed, but you're doing it just in the hope of doing it. So she sacrificed her mind and body and all that just for an unknown, just in the hope of getting the Master Sword to him. But yeah, let me know your favorite badass Zelda moment. But that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.